So now to our main event. I am so pleased to introduce our moderator and the creator of the Coinbase Scholarship, Trey Edwards. Trey is a program manager in the customer experience org for our advocacy team, and he is highly skilled at navigating the space that exists between our customers and our product teams. He enjoys spending time with his beautiful wife, Channing, having fun adventures like swimming with dolphins and skydiving. Of course, why not? Coinbase is lucky to have him, and I personally admire the passion he shows for BID, even though it's not his day job. He exemplifies act like an owner. Take it away, Trey.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Veronica. I really appreciate the kind words in the intro. And by the way, if anyone ever wants to go skydiving, hit me up. I'm always down to go. So before we jump into talking a little bit about the scholarship, I wanted to share some details about how we got started with this idea that brought us to this conversation. So for me, my journey to crypto started in 2017 when I was working in the traditional financial industry and learning a little bit about how outdated some of the technology was. It really astounded me about how much time and effort had to go into moving money. As a result, as I was learning more about financial technology, I came across a book about blockchain and it blew my mind. It truly surprised me and honestly shocked me about how this technology had the capacity to really change the world and to change the way that money moves across not only the United States, but across anywhere with an internet or satellite connection. With that in mind, I wanted to do anything that I possibly could to not only invest into the technology, but to take part and to help build it. It kind of reminded me of being in what I would have imagined the internet was like in the late 90s or early 2000s. And so I came across a master's degree program by the University of Nicosia, and it was the only one in the world at the time, and still is, to be an accredited graduate degree program focused on blockchain and digital currency. At the time, I was in a serious relationship with my now wife and about to get engaged, and so it was a busy time. But I decided I was going to apply and into the university. Ultimately, got accepted. And throughout my time for the next year and a half or so while I was in the program, I learned about fascinating subjects, which we'll discuss with Abraham today. But the biggest thing that I came away with was not only does this technology have the capacity to change the way that money moves, but it has the ability to really improve economic freedom for the entire world. And so, with that in mind, I wanted to join a company that shared those same values as far as building the technology up and doing so in a way that really is going to make a positive impact in the world. And so, that's a little bit about what brought me to Coinbase. Now that I'm here, as Veronica mentioned, I'm a project manager. And when I'm not at my day job or not skydiving or hanging out with my wife, one thing that I care a lot about is making sure that people in our community not only know about this technology and about its ability to be a great wealth creation event, but that they know that the crypto industry is a place that is meant for them. And it's a place where they can bring their talents to help us build it and help it to live up to its potential. And so that's where the idea for the scholarship came from, because last summer I was thinking about ideas in which we could improve or increase the amount of Black and Brown people who were in this industry. And so I thought, well, what if Coinbase provided an opportunity for people like me to be able to not only learn about this technology and become experts, but to do so in a way which removed any sort of financial barriers. I'll never forget the day that I presented this idea to our CX team, our customer experience team, and it was met here with completely welcome arms. They helped me think through the initial concept and how it could work. And ultimately, Dominique, I'll never forget a conversation that you and I had. I had brought up the idea at the time to have this scholarship go out to one person per year, and I'll truly never forget what you told me. You told me one would be great, but that's not enough. Let's do five. And that was something. Sorry, I'm breaking up a little bit because it really just showed me about how much people here at Coinbase care about diversity and inclusion, and not only here internally, but making sure that our industry is a place that is truly welcome to all. And so we spent months thinking through the details about how this scholarship would work and how we could set our recipients up for success. And so I'm proud to announce as of today that we have found the first recipient. He is absolutely stellar, as you all are about to find out. And so with that in mind, Abraham, I wanted to use the rest of this time today to really let this audience know about yourself and about what your journey's been like. So maybe if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you here today.
Well, Trey, thank you for having me on stage. Thank you, all the panels. So yes, I would definitely want to tell you a little bit of myself. My journey started from Nigeria, and some fun facts here. In 1996, I was 4 years old. I was watching my country in the Olympic soccer tournament, and we were the first African nation to win the gold medal in the Olympics. So I remember telling myself that this is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, right? So my country went wild. I think the next day was a national holiday. So that was very exciting times. And from there, one of the other facts here was my wedding, when me and my wife, we eloped in Mexico, in Cabo. And when we eloped in Mexico, it was just me and her. We weren't able to have family due to COVID, but we made the best of it and we had a blast. And later on, we found out that the New York Times was going to do a feature on us. So that was very exciting. I knew my wife was ready for the photo op. I think the next one was my journey into cryptocurrency. So we're gonna dive into deeper into it. But my first course that I ever took in cryptocurrency was a foundation course. And that was the moment where I had the light bulb effect. I was like, okay, this is revolutionary. I was an investor in the stock market, foreign exchange, but I knew that this was the opportunity for me to control my own wealth. And so we'll definitely dive into that deeper, and for you guys to learn more about me.
That's awesome. Thanks so much for sharing that. And those pictures are fantastic. That's wonderful, man. So you mentioned about that first course and how that got you into cryptocurrency. So how did you go from that first course on Udemy to learning about the University of Nicosia and wanting to enroll in that program?
Yes. So my journey into crypto, the first thing I did was I was in a moment of my life where I was sitting in my car, and the executive director, I was actually in charge of scouting for a club. I spent over 11 years in the soccer industry, and I received a call, and the call was, hey, we're gonna cut your paycheck and every staff's paycheck by 50%. And at that moment, I was sitting in my car, I was like, man, I was not in charge of my livelihood, right? So that was when I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to start reading books. So I started reading a lot of financial books. I know a lot of people know about Rich Dad Poor Dad and Secret to the Millionaire's Mouth. So I dove in deep into making sure that I can create multiple streams of income. And so I stumbled upon the foundation course here, which was the cryptocurrency investment course. And the first time I had this experience, I was like, okay, this is revolutionary. Like I said, I think the course was able to give me the foundation in the sense of understanding mining, understanding how to actually create a how would you say, a passive and active investment portfolio, asset allocation, things I've never learned before. So I was able to take that knowledge and apply it. The power to this is that through knowledge, things that would have took me about, let's just say, 2 years into the crypto space, I was able to streamline that in 4 to 6 months. So I came in, I educated myself, and I was investing in the crypto space in less than 6 months. So I owe that all due to me being able to streamline my knowledge through taking courses. And so how did I stumble upon University of Nicosia? So the next stage for me was like, hey, you know what? I have this knowledge, but I feel like I need to learn. I need to take this to the next level, right? How do I really support my community? Because the one thing is, as you get to a certain stage, especially in the crypto space, I would say we're all individuals, right? And you invest in a specific protocol. So I said, okay, you know what? I want to build something for my community, but I need the basic foundation to do that. So I started searching, and actually, the funny thing was my wife found University of Nicosia. So we were both doing some research, and she's like, "Hey, guess what? I found this university." And I was like, "Okay, hold on. Are you sure this university is legit?" She's like, "Yeah, let's check it out." I was like, "Okay." I did some research. I reached out to a bunch of people. I started asking questions, and I stumbled upon Trey, and I saw his little bio that he had there, about his experience. I was like, okay, let me reach out to this guy. He's black, so I'm sure he had a really good experience. So we reached out. Trey's, this has a smile. He's like, man, I had amazing experience. He's like, I loved it. It was amazing. You're gonna learn a lot. And so we kept our relationship going. And so I decided to apply for University of Nicosia, and I got in to the university. And from there, I wanted to figure out how I'm going to pay for this course. And so I applied to several scholarship that University of Nicosia offered, but it wasn't enough. And behind the scenes, I didn't know that Trey was working on the scholarship. And I think we had a conversation, and he was like, "Hey, guess what? We are partnered with University of Nicosia. We want to offer you to be the first recipient of the scholarship." I was like, "Well, that's crazy, right?" I felt like everything was aligning at that moment. So, yeah, that's my quick summary or journey into University of Nicosia.
Thanks for sharing that, man. Yeah, I'll never forget those first couple meetings that you and I had. I came away from each of them just incredibly leaving more fired up about cryptocurrency than I was before, because I just hearing the vision about what you wanted to build and how you wanted to use the degree, I knew that you were the one, man. So I'm glad that we're having this conversation now. So I remember when I was in the program, there was a variety of different courses ranging from blockchain
Mm.
technology and applications to learning about innovation to all sorts of different cryptocurrency and blockchain related topics. How's the
Mm.
program going for you so far? Has there been a course so far that has really stood out to you?
Mm. So I just completed so this is my third course I'm in. So I took the intro to digital currency, which is University of Nicosia offers that to any students who would like to get a feel of the master's program. So that's a free course. But I will say the one right now that I'm in, which is the digital currency and the development world. I think that is, I would say it's a huge catalyst for me because I was able to put my experience growing up in the continent, the African continent in Nigeria. So, for example, simple aspects of infrastructure and internet isn't something that is readily available in the continent. For example, growing up, there wasn't steady electricity, right? There wasn't steady light. So, for example, I used to get happy when the light turned on at night, right? And so, the experience I had with my grandmother who had to travel distance just to get to a bank. So, for example, the issue with the last mile, where if my grandma wanted to access her bank account, she needed to pretty much go from the village, take a bus. After she takes the bus, she has to arrive to the city center. Once she arrives to the city, she has to now take a motorbike to the actual location of the bank. Now, if everything goes well and she hasn't forgotten a single document, maybe she has an opportunity to actually access her money. So that difficulty was always there when it comes down to the developing world and how cryptocurrency can actually support. So I'm very fascinated with this, and I've learned so much, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the course.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for sharing that. I know that their cryptocurrency's ability to remove the need for those financial intermediaries. I can't wait to see what the next probably 5 to 10 years look like, because I really think that
Mhm.
we're rapidly approaching a future where she won't need to go to that bank. And instead, as long
Mm.
as she has that mobile or internet or satellite connection, she'll be able to be her own bank. So I'm excited to work towards that. Something that you said earlier really stuck with me as far as wanting to build out multiple streams of income. I know that you and I have talked a lot about entrepreneurship and different goals. Once you graduate from university, how do you see entrepreneurship and multiple streams of income playing a role in your future and using that to impact the community?
Mm. Yes. So I've always said that it starts with education. To me, that's the key to me being here today. So the fact that there is an opportunity for my community to be able to access funding to attend University of Nicosia, that's a game changer. So my goal was to create a platform that supports that. So my aim now is to create a platform that empowers the Black community through cryptocurrency and blockchain with education, investment, and community building. So I am at the stage of the infant stage of entrepreneurship, right? Putting all the pieces together, doing the research and all these different things. So I'm very fascinated by that. I'm looking forward to it. But the most important thing here is, I think me and Trey, we talked about the future of incentive, the idea that in the future, we have to make sure that we're able to not just say, hey, here's a free content, here's education, but here, how would we incentivize you to actually be a part of this journey with us? So that's something I'm definitely looking into, and I'm looking forward to making sure my community can play a huge part into the crypto space. And I think the most important thing is the financial and technological inclusion. That's something I want to aim for. So that's what Crypto Noir is going to do.
I love that. And what a fantastic name, Crypto Noir. I'm really excited to see that platform take place and for people to be able to leverage it to better not only their own lives, but the lives of people in our community. One thing that I'm curious to hear from you is there's likely people who will watch this and be interested in blockchain digital currency, but not really sure about how they can take the next step. Were there any resources that you would recommend that people check out, whether it be books or YouTube or any other piece of content that you recommend for people new to crypto and wanting to get started?
Yes. First and foremost, knowledge. So I think the free course is offered by University of Nicosia. It's a great resource for you to start. And I would say just having a growth mindset. So taking all the information that you can receive. So check out crypto Twitter. It's crazy, but it's a jungle, but you will learn a lot. You'll learn about this environment. When it comes down to books, I would say for me, it's less about the crypto books. It's more about for me, it was what does money mean to me, right? So what's my kind of experience with money, right? So I would say that you need to go through the journey of understanding what money means to you. You need to go through the journey of understanding how would this change your life, right? What does crypto? How can crypto be revolutionary for your community or for your own personal life? So I think it's more about the person learning themselves.
I like that a lot. And one interesting course that I'm not sure if you've taken it yet in the program, but it's the principles of money. And so it's all about what you just said, because when you think about it, how many people have really sat back and thought about the idea of what is money? Why does money have such a strong value in our lives? How has money changed over generations? What is a good money versus a not as sound money? And those sort of concepts are ones which I know for me were really fundamental as far as understanding about why cryptocurrency is so fundamentally different than any other money that has ever existed before. I think that a couple of educational resources that I would recommend if you're interested in learning about that sort of concept would be books and YouTube videos by a guy named Andreas Antonopoulos. He's one of the instructors at the university program, teaches the first course, which again is completely free, and has a variety of different books. My favorite by him is The Internet of Money. So definitely encourage you all to check those out if you haven't already. I have just a couple of last questions for you, man, before we jump into.
So Trey, actually, I have
go ahead.
one for you. I think it's a documentary online. You can definitely access this on Prime. It's called The Trust Machine. Really, really good documentary. So definitely check that out. I would say it will give you a strong basic foundation into cryptocurrency and the influence it's going to have in the near future, especially Web 3.0.
Sweet. Thanks for the plug. I'll definitely check that out. And so 2 last questions I have for you before we jump into questions from the audience is first, so I know that you're all about education as we've talked about. Are there any blockchain protocols or projects that you're really excited about that you would like to educate our audience today about?
Oh, you know, this is my thing, Trey. All right, let's get into it. Y'all ready? Okay. Well, when it comes down to investing, I'm always thinking about protocols in the sense of, so investors, we invest in the future, right? So we look for, let's just say, a specific protocol or project to solve a problem, right? So for example, let's look at data network. I'm a huge fan of data network. And so data is a peer-to-peer streaming network. And so as we talked about the future incentive, what data does is you have the opportunity to share your bandwidth with the data network through the edge computing network, and you receive the cryptocurrency token TFIL. This is revolutionary because when we think about the future of incentive, which I like to call it, we're going to get to a point where we're going to move from this idea of a platform, you sharing your data and it being used, into here's a reward for you sharing your bandwidth. So I find that very fascinating. Now the second one would be Cardano. I know Cardano is listed in Coinbase. Now one of the things that I find very fascinating with Cardano is the proof of identity, right? So this is a concept that was tried in Bitcoin network. So when it comes down to proof of identity, I'm also thinking about the Africa special they're going to have soon. And the idea that now being an African citizen, so their first launch is going to be Ethiopia, right? So being an African citizen, you now have the opportunity through Atala Prism to be able to have your identity on this platform, and you will be able to pay and receive cryptocurrency and do business across the world. That's revolutionary. And the reason why this is important, because one of the biggest issues I've seen, like let's just say you're in the continent, the African continent. When you go, we have a lot of night markets. So in Nigeria, you're gonna go to the night market. Things move really, really fast. And so business deals are made through a handshake. So transaction needs to happen like that. So if you're in the market, you may be doing business with 3 other individuals. So, and you also not have to negotiate that deal, right? So you're not going to show up and say, hey, I want $1 for something. No, you have to negotiate it for a lower price. The merchant knows that. So if that transaction takes longer than someone else's across the street, you might lose that business. So now being able to combine that with knowing that you have a proof of identity that can be confirmed, with the government, the state, the governor, it's a game changer. So I would say Cardano data is very fascinating. Those are the 2 that stands out to me right now when it comes down to the future of incentive.
That's awesome, man. Thanks for sharing. I'll definitely check those out. I know that one thing that I'm excited about is to see these projects really go from being just at the white paper stage or being really at that kind of small proof of concept to being full blown and used out by people in their everyday life. The other thing I'm excited about is just hearing you speak more about some of these things, and not only speak about them, but build them and put them into practice. Because I have no doubt 5-10 years from now, we're going to be looking at your Wikipedia page, looking at all the things that you built here in this time. And so my last question here for you is, how can people keep up with you? If people want to follow along with your progress throughout the program, as well as just things that you're building within the crypto industry, what's the best place for them to keep up with you?
So yes, you can find me on Twitter at InvestAbe. I'm also in the process of creating my website, so that's going to be launching soon. I'm also going to have my YouTube content, which will be Crypto Noir, so definitely go out and check that out. So yes, I would say Investor Abe at Twitter, so at Investor Abe. That will be the #1 location for you to find more about me and what I'm doing. I definitely throw out some few little, what would you say, some teaching moments. And, yeah, you could say some hot takes. You know, I would say educating the general crypto space. But yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks so much for that. I know I just hit the follow button. And so I now want to use these last couple of minutes to talk through a couple questions that people might have. So if you have any questions for Abraham, feel free to drop them into the chat and then we'll get to them. I know that there's one question in here about what are your thoughts on staking as a passive stream of income? In particular, do you have any thoughts on one named PancakeSwap? I know that's a really cool one.
So the first question is about staking. So proof of stake. Okay. What are my thoughts on that?
Yeah, so
passive
proof of
income?
staking. Yeah, exactly. Passive income and multiple income streams, like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah. So this is a good question, because the first thing that comes to mind is simplicity. Why would someone want to use a specific protocol? So when we think about something going, if you want to call it mainstream, we will also, the main focus is, like, you know, I always say, would my grandma use this, right? So proof of stake, what it does is it creates the opportunity for someone to use a specific protocol, go through the governance system, be able to vote depending on the network itself, without having to deal with the mining issue, right? Because if you wanted to mine, you have to have some technical knowledge. So I think proof of stake creates the ability for you to be able to kind of streamline that process and how would you say, participate in the network itself. So yes, it's a huge, I would call it a great way for you to create passive income or multiple streams of income, because the work itself, or the simplicity aspect of that work, it's a lot easier. So yes, I'm a big fan of POS.
For sure. And so to take it even a step further with the simplicity, one thing that is really cool that's going on right now is so many companies, whether it be Coinbase or many of the other crypto exchanges, are making it so that you don't even have to have any of the technical hardware or do any of the work yourself to begin staking. Instead, all you have to do is to hold your funds on that exchange. For example, Coinbase, we just launched Ethereum staking, and you can stake, I believe, 4 other assets. And just by holding them in your wallet, you'll earn anywhere between 3 and 6%. The way I see it is, man, that's a no-brainer. Like, these assets otherwise were just sitting in my wallet. They were appreciating in price, hopefully, but sometimes they go down. And so what this staking means is that even when the price is going down or if it's going up, doesn't matter, because you are earning staking rewards on it nonetheless. And so I feel like it's going to be one of those things that really helps people transition from finance 1.0 to the future, because people are used to earning rewards on their funds, for example, like in your savings account or checkings account. And now through staking, we have the crypto version of that. So I'm super fired up to see what the future holds.
And you asked me about PancakeSwap, right? Or Pool, PancakeSwap.
Yeah. Right? I think the question was PancakeSwap.
Yes, I haven't used PancakeSwap. I know there's a new food popping up every day in the crypto space. So I would probably say when it comes down to DeFi and the DeFi space, I think it's definitely in the infant stage. So I think we're going to see some few networks that do survive and are able to adapt, and we're going to see some few there are not. So I think it's going to be revolutionary, especially in developing world, right? So we talk about this idea of remittances, so being able to send money across the world. So here's a good example. My mom, she used to buy this calling card. I don't know if anyone knows about calling cards, but okay. So for you to call back home, you need a specific card, right? But for you to also send money, you have to send money from a specific location in, like, the United States, where you may have like an African store, right? So now if you're able to send transaction from the United States to the African continent, let's say Nigeria itself, and someone can access that money and use it for local merchants, I think it's a game changer. So I think DeFi is going to play a huge role when it comes down to loan, microfinance. So I'm looking forward to that.
You and me both, definitely. So I think that is all the time that we have today. Abraham, thanks so much for joining. You know, I always like spending some time with you. And Veronica, I'll turn it over to you. I think you're on mute.
That is awesome. Okay. This was amazing. Everybody, please follow Investor Abe on his Twitter account. You see it right there. Crypto Noir is now going to be my superhero name from here forward, because that is just fabulous in all its glory right there. And Abraham, we are thrilled to have you and welcome you as our first recipient to the scholarship, but even more so as part of the Coinbase family. For those who don't know, one of the great things about the scholarship is not only that we're providing full tuition to the program to receive the master's degree in digital currency and blockchain technology, but also it comes with an OG mentor from Coinbase. So Abraham's mentor is actually Sean Agrawal, and I know he was able to make the call today. He's looking forward to deep diving into mentoring you and helping you to continue to succeed. And I would definitely agree with Trey and everyone on this call that you are exactly the type of cryptopreneur that Coinbase is more than happy to support. I know everyone on this call is probably clamoring and wants more details and is super excited now, and you should be. Please stay tuned. We are going to be doing a public announcement with a blog post with information about the scholarship application process. And there is also, drum roll please, a Coinbase employee discount on the tuition. So you'll hear more about that when it's posted, and I'll make sure to put it in the Belonging and Culture channel as well. Last little bit, we did record this meeting. The full meeting will be available for internal audiences. However, thank you to our amazing AV team. We will also be able to make the Fireside chat portion, just that portion, available externally. So once that link is ready, you can post it to your networks, to your socials, and we can get the word out and get the next 4 scholars for this program. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending. Have a great rest of your evening or your day. Thanks again. Bye-bye.